You got a minute?
You must be proud of my hangover.
And I hope the wax in your ears didn't stop you from hearing, pal.
I'll remember your face.
I'll try to forget yours.
What about the bartender?
I let him have it over the head with a peanut machine. Run along, darling, before I fracture your spine.
Is the gun loaded?
You want to find out?
No, I'm happy at just guessing.
You don't have to say anything and you don't have to do anything.
All right, Mr. DeMille, I'm ready for my close-up.
If you're the police, where are your badges?
I don't have to show you any stinking badges.
Like, do you ever feel like because I know you worked with, and as you mentioned, you played Alan Bennett, and you've worked with him as well, and people like Jimmy McGovern, who I know you've worked with, or even like Kenneth Branagh, when you were in Hamlet. Do you feel like you were kind of, even back then, you were subconsciously picking up things that you could then translate into your directing work going forward?
Well, I wasn't thinking of it, Aaron, at the time, no, because I didn't know I'd ever direct. But, I think those experiences, just when you become a director, they're just all there for you. You remember it all and you think, oh, yeah, okay, now I'm given the chance to play with the big toy box. Those things come up. It's been extraordinary. That gig was the maddest of the lot. Basically, I once read at the back of the Sunday Times or something, they used to do a day in the life or a life in the day of, was the back page of the supplement. And it was Ken Branagh's, and it was fascinating. It was and he just seemed like a normal bloke. It felt like me, but he'd become this, knight of the realm, and he liked his football, and he just talked about this and being a normal guy. And I thought, I've never done this in my life. And I thought, right, I'm going to write Ken a letter, and the only letter I've ever written in all these years. And I knew I was working with a mate of his in a play at Hampstead Theatre, and I mentioned this, and he said, I'll get you Ken, a letter to Ken, or he's at Shepperton or whatever. So I wrote this letter. Actually, that's it. It was Making Frankenstein, the movie at the time was Ken, and I wrote this letter. I said, listen, Ken, I read this thing. I've always admired you. I'd love to chew the fat with you at some point if ever you get the chance. And he wrote me this letter back, and it was on Frankenstein headed notepaper, and he just said, Reece, absolutely joy to get your letter. When I've got this monster up and running, let's get our heads together and chew the fat. So I've got this letter still. It's the only letter I've kept, really. And as good as his word, we didn't get round to that. Instead, he asked to see me for his next project as Guildenstern in Hamlet, the big movie he was going to make. And I went along and we chatted, and we just got on like a house on fire. He gave me the gig, and it was me and Tim Spall as Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. And I kid you not, it had in this film the biggest stars you could ever imagine. Okay, and there's me and Tim doing our thing, but even the lesser known stars, the British people, were Kate Winslet and Derek Jacobi and Richard Bryars. But then we're talking in small roles. We're talking Robin Williams and Billy Crystal. We're talking Charlton Heston. We're talking, well, it was very funny. One day I'm doing a scene and I'm in full regalia with Tim, and we're chatting away. And all of a sudden, walking across the palace at Blenheim, or at Shepperton anyway, was this very old man, and he just looked like an old version of Jack Lemmon until he got really close. And then I realized it was an old version of Jack Lemmon. Jack Lemmon's walking towards us and coming saying, hello, how you doing, please? It was just ridiculous. It was Dame Judi Dench. It was just everybody you could think of. And I've not mentioned half of them. And there's me and Tim laughing our heads off, really, because it was like, what are we doing here? But we had it's actually, I say that, but we got a proper fee. Tim and I got a proper film fee. We were on it, and we got a decent amount of money, let's be honest, for what we were doing for the amount of the weeks. These big stars didn't get anything. They were doing it because it was Ken Branagh and the love of the film, and they were just on expenses. So we worked out we've done a movie where we've earned more than all those people put together. It was like, hello, this is ridiculous. I once got a call sheet, and I was near the bottom, and all these names were on it for the day who were coming in to do a scene. And I've got to find that, because I've got to frame that and put that up somewhere. It's just a
That should be the book cover.
Yeah,
That could be a book cover.
That could be it. I've got it somewhere, and it's just ludicrous the names on it.
I was going to say, did that go on your CV that Reece Dinsdale higher fee than Jack Lemmon and Gerard Depardieu and
yes, all of them? He was in it, wasn't he? He had a line. Even Ken Dodd was in it. He played Yorick. The dead fool. They did a little flashback to him, and it was Ken Dodd. Straight, massive film, massive experience. I've been really lucky, haven't I? When I look back at these, I wasn't even thinking about these things today, and there they come to the fore. And I don't know what your question was, but
yeah, you definitely answered it. Yeah.
No, I've done my bit.
Oh, you've got to change your Twitter handle now. You've got to just put in your bio, earns more than Judi Dench.
Yeah. I don't know what I put on there. I think I've got a Bob Dylan lyric on there or something like that. Yeah. Just have a go kind of thing.
Oh, brilliant. We should probably let you go, to be fair, soon. I do
have
have one.
The dog now. I've got to walk the dog. I must say, I was going to
walk
say,
the dog.
Can I go, please? No, I didn't mean it. But it's like she's outside here. I can hear her.
Oh, well, I just have one last thing for you, if you don't mind. This is to punish Jason, basically, because he's off doing director things.
Ooh.
And I'm not involved, and he's not here. I'm going to make his life a little bit miserable in the US for a little bit. So I'm ordering one of them T-shirts. Remember I mentioned, Aaron, I'm getting you one helping. Yeah, the Off You Pop one.
Off You Pop T-shirt.
He has no idea what English people say. This whole thing is going to confuse him when he comes to edit it, because it's 3 English people talking, and he's going to be like, what?
What are you saying?
Yeah. So can you explain in your own words what Off You Pop means for the confused American I promised you?
Well, it's a kind of way of saying F off, isn't it? It's basically the nice way of saying F off. Why we say pop, I don't know. Maybe it's a northern thing. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's just British. I have no idea. But Off You Pop just became my way. When I was fed up with the trolls and all the rest of it on Twitter were giving me some grief. I never wanted to engage with them in a kind of angry way or in a being what's the word, offensive. I didn't want to be what they were to me about basically my political views and all the rest of it. So I just wrote to a couple of them, Off You Pop, and off you go on your way. I'm not interested anymore. That's what it means, Jason. Pop, I don't know. Pop, go, whatever. But it seemed to work, and people picked up on it, and you would love their Off You Pops. So it became my little catchphrase. And everybody was saying, get us a T-shirt, let's do this. So we did. I think we're actually tweaking the T-shirt, so there might be a change on the T-shirt soon. So maybe you ought to wait. I don't know.
I feel like you're telling me I need to wait for the upgraded version. I feel, but without telling me that.
Yes, maybe that's what you should do. We'd have probably a little more subtle version of it. Because it was a big in-your-face thing. But anyway, it's just a bit of fun. It's Off Your Pop, Jason.